If you clicked on this video, you may be wondering whether or not you have an eating disorder. Hi, my name is Stephanie. I'm a therapist in Long Island, New York that specializes in the treatment of eating disorders and body image issues. Today I wanted to give you a little bit of an idea or give you some tips that can help you to deduct whether or not you have an eating issue and whether or not you should be seeking help. So just a disclaimer that these are some ideas to help you to decipher whether or not you have an eating disorder. It is in no way to form a diagnosis, and if you feel, this is something I can't emphasize enough, if you feel that you're struggling in any way, shape, or form, and likely you are if you're clicking on this video, I would encourage you to get help and find help from a therapist that specializes in the treatment of eating disorders, because it may be nothing, but it may end up developing to an eating disorder, and the earlier on you could catch it and start treating it, the better the prognosis and the shorter the treatment usually is for recovery. So without further ado, let me get into it and talk a little bit more about why it's important to know whether or not you have an eating disorder or to know whether you have an eating issue. I'm not personally a huge fan of diagnosis. Now, it is a necessary evil, separate of the financial aspect of it. Usually insurance companies, or definitely insurance companies, want to see a diagnosis so that they know what they're covering. So that's one big evil or big necessity for a diagnosis. The second part is for eating disorders especially, it's very important to look the demon in its mouth, or the devil in its mouth. The demon sounds even scarier, but okay, so it's very important to look the devil in its mouth and really know that what you're working with and what you're dealing with, because it's very dangerous, especially in an eating disorder, if you are struggling with that and you don't recognize it, because it really is cliche, but it's so true that the very first step to anything is admitting that you have a problem. So I wanted to get that out of the way. So some questions that you may want to ask yourself to decide, or not to decide, to really see if maybe you are struggling with the eating disorder. Maybe you're struggling a little bit more than you're even thinking. So the first question is, do I think about food often? Do you think that you're thinking about food much more than the average person? Do you think that you're thinking about it for the majority of your life? And when you're eating breakfast, are you already thinking about what you're having for lunch? And are you already planning what you're having for dinner? If so, that likely may be indicating that you are struggling with an eating issue. In addition to that, if you are struggling like that, you may be finding yourself, some other ways that you may find yourself being preoccupied with food is you might be watching like Cupcake Mania. Wait, that's okay. A Cupcake Wars, or one of those baking shows or something like that, but you're not, and you might bake, but you're not actually eating what you bake, or you might cook a lot, but you're never eating what you cook. Those are some indicators in that regard. So 2, do you ever find yourself compensating for what you eat or how much you exercise? So let's say you had a piece of chocolate cake and you feel that you feel compelled that you have to go to the gym and make sure that you're working out for an hour and a half or however long it might be to work off that cake, right? So if you're finding that yourself doing that, or if you're saying that you're planning on having a pizza tomorrow and you're saying, well, I can't have that unless I know I make it to the gym in the morning, and then I can have that. So basically that your eating is based on some exercise in your effort to take that, whatever calories you gained or calories that you perceived you gain, off. So one behavior is reliant on the other. The third one is, do you feel helpless around food? And that is a big indicator as well that you're struggling with an eating issue. One way that you might be able to tell that is, let's say if you have anxiety about going to social events because you know that it's going to have a lot of food there. Or holidays. Usually our holidays are very much like food is the centerpiece. So if you feel helpless around it because you feel that if you start eating, you're never going to stop, or you're worried if they'll have something for you and if that's going to cause a breakdown if they don't, or whatever the case might be, those are some things to look for, again, that indicate that you're struggling with an eating issue. 4, Do you feel shame around your body, or do you always are you always feeling like you're fat? Do you have a fear of being fat? If so, that's also an indicator. If you, it might be body dysmorphia, and and it sounds like you really are struggling with body image issues. So if that's something that you're feeling often, you may be struggling. And number 5, and the last one, not to mean that's an all-inclusive list, it's just something that I want you to start thinking about. So do you feel that you're fat when other people around you, your loved ones, are telling you otherwise, or strangers maybe are telling you otherwise? If so, that does sound like you're probably suffering with some sort of body dysmorphia, and you're seeing yourself very differently than how others are seeing you. You may not have heard of body dysmorphia, and I know I've just been saying that this entire video. I will also post a video very soon about body dysmorphia and a little bit more information about that if it's not up already, and I'll link it in the description below if it is. So those are some 5 questions to ask yourself to help you decide, or help you to figure out whether or not you're struggling with an eating issue. Now, what is the next step? I will link a video below for one of the videos that I had talked about finding help and making sure that you're getting the right help. And I really would urge you to watch that, because it is so imperative when struggling with an eating disorder, eating issues, body image issues, to find a therapist that specializes in treatment of those in those areas. So check out that video if you're looking to get help. Again, disclaimer, this is not to diagnose you or anything like that. I don't know you, I can't do that, especially via this context. So just keep that in mind. And if you feel like you're struggling at all, as I said before, make sure that you get help. It can never hurt for anyone to get therapy. It's always nice to be able to talk to someone who's objective and a third party that's not influenced by the things that you're going through on a daily basis. So with that said, did you find this video helpful? If so, please leave it in the comments below, yes or no. If you have suggestions for future videos, please let me know so that I can make sure I'm catering content around your needs and what your thoughts are. If you like this video, please like it. I would really appreciate that. And if you like these types of videos that are informative and designed to be a resource for you if you're struggling with these types of issues, or if you know someone who's struggling with these types of issues, please subscribe to my channel, share my videos if it could be helpful for someone else. And I really hope to see you in my next video. Oh, wait, I forgot to say, I do have a blog. I will leave a link to that in the description below as well, which will help give you more content to talk about a little bit more about these types of issues. So again, without further ado, I hope to see you in my next videos, and I will see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.